Okay, so you're eating well, you're taking supplements, you're doing all the right things. So why do you still feel off? The answer may not be your body. It may be that you've been taught to actually override it.
Welcome to the True Wellness Podcast with Dr. Z, where we explore what it takes to live with vitality, balance, and purpose. I am Dr. Z, and each week I will bring you powerful tools, inspiring stories, and expert insights to help you thrive in every area of your life. From health and wellness to mindset and navigating life's challenges, this podcast is your guide to creating a life of true well-being. Be sure to check the show notes and grab your copy of the True Wellness Checklist so you can get started on your journey right away. Now, let's get started.
Welcome back to True Wellness with Dr. Z, where we challenge the noise, where we come back to what's real and have the kinds of conversations that help you understand your body in a completely different way. Hi, I'm Dr. Z, and today we're talking about something that so many people are feeling, but they don't know how to put it into words. And it's this, okay? What do you do when you feel like you're doing everything right for your health and it's still not working? Right? When you're eating pretty well, when you're trying to be disciplined, when you bought all the supplements, when you're cutting things out, when you've followed all the advice, when you've tried harder, when you're staying on track, and yet you still feel off. You still feel tired. You still feel puffy, inflamed, bloated, wired, exhausted, moody, disconnected, stuck, right? How many of you have been there? Maybe your sleep is off. Maybe your cravings are there. Maybe your weight doesn't seem to be budging, or maybe your energy is like unpredictable. You don't know what to expect when you wake up in the morning. Are you going to be able to get up or you're not going to be able to get up? Or maybe most frustrating of all is like you're starting to wonder what's wrong with you. And that is the part that I really want to speak to today, because when someone has been doing all the right things and still doesn't feel, well, still doesn't feel that the conclusion is they start to think, well, maybe I'm the problem, or maybe I'm just not disciplined enough, or maybe there's something wrong with my body, or maybe I need to try harder. Maybe I need more supplements or restriction or more willpower. And I want to say this very clearly right from the beginning, because that is often the moment where people go, they go like further in the wrong direction. And it's not because they don't care or they're lazy or they aren't trying, but because they've been taught to respond to a body that is struggling by putting more pressure instead of it on it, excuse me, more pressure on it instead of actually understanding. Because sometimes you need more understanding, not more pressure. And your body, it doesn't respond well to pressure. And what happens is your body will start to get louder. So today I want to unpack while doing everything right for your health may still not be working, and what your body's actually trying to tell you, because there's a big difference between supporting your body and overriding it. This is a big thing that I talk about, in body-led medicine, in the body-led movement, because I find that a lot of high functioning, responsible, disciplined people, they've gotten so used to overriding their body that they don't even recognize it anymore. And that's what we need to talk about. Okay. So let's start with the emotional reality of what's happening. So one of the most frustrating experiences in health is not like doing nothing and feeling bad about it. Yes, that's frustrating. Okay, sure. But what's usually far more often painful is like doing a lot of things and then still feeling bad, because when you're trying and you're reading and you're researching and you're buying the clean food and you're doing the workouts, you're ordering the supplements, you're listening to the podcast, and you're trying to get enough sleep, and you're trying to be positive, and you're trying to meditate, and you're trying to stay on top of everything, like, you expect a return on your investment, right? I mean, I do. So you expect that the body is going to be like, oh, thank you. Thank you. Let's go. Let's go. Right. But for a lot of high performers, what we find is that's not what happens. Instead, they find themselves saying things like, I don't understand. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. Or I'm eating healthier than most other people I know. Or I'm taking all the things. Or I've cleaned out my diet. I've cut out the sugar. I cut out the gluten. I cut out the dairy. I'm working out. I'm trying to reduce my stress. So why do I still feel like this? And that question, honestly, is not a small question. And that question is often a doorway into a totally different relationship with the body. Because sometimes the issue is not that you're doing too little. Sometimes is the issue is that you have learned to relate to your body through control, correction, management, pressure, and not actually through listening to your body and what your body needs. Okay. And that's a very big distinction because a lot of what looks like health effort on the outside can actually be a form of disconnection on the inside. Let me say it again because that might have been confusing. So a lot of what looks like health effort on the outside, so like you're doing all these things, can actually be a form of disconnection on the inside. So that's the part that can sting a little bit in all honesty, right? Because many people they've been praised for being disciplined, like, oh my gosh, it's so amazing, you've done that for so long, or look how good you eat, or what have you. They're praised for pushing through, they're praised for working harder, they're praised for holding it all together even when they just want to collapse. They're praised for being production, for being good, right? So getting stuff done and being good. That pattern gets carried over into our health. So even health becomes another place where we perform, another place where we get gold stars, another place where we override signals in order to stay on a plan, right? And from the outside, it can look really impressive, right? You're doing the things, but from the inside, the body's saying, hey, you're not listening to me. We see it, or I see it a lot in my practice, right? Like women who are like completely burnt out, but they're still spending an hour plus at the gym every day or 5 days a week. And they're wondering why they're exhausted and their body's not recovering. I mean, one of the problems in modern health is that we've confused the general best practices with personal truth. And now the foundational things, they really matter. Of course they matter. Your nutrition matters, your sleep matters, your hydration matters, your blood sugar matters, your nervous system regulation, it matters, your movement matters, your weight matters, your stress matters. Yes, hands down. Okay, absolutely. But what often gets lost is this. Something can be healthy in theory and still not actually supporting or supportive for you in the way that you're doing it, or in the timing that you're doing it, or the condition that your body is currently in. You know, I see clients, for example, who they come into my practice and they're super stressed because they're high performers. This is kind of the way they run their life. And, they've got a parasitic infection. And I know there's no way that they can actually begin right now to clear that parasitic infection because their body is needing something else first in order to be able to work through and clear that parasitic infection. But I mean, here's the thing. Here's where people get tripped up because they think this is supposed to be good for me. And maybe some of the things that they're doing are, but if it's being used in a way that ignores your body's current capacity, your current stress, your hormones, your nervous system state, your energy reserves, then even like a healthy thing can become another source of strain, right? I see it in a lot of our perimenopausal, menopausal clients. And they're like, well, I heard intermittent fasting is like the key to everything. And if I just intermittent fast all day, then I'll be able to lose the weight that's stuck. And that's not the case. Actually, if you're a perimenopausal, menopausal woman, your hormones are kind of all over the place. By by doing a fast and not supporting the body, especially if you're working out, oh my gosh, especially if you're working out, you're actually sending your hormones basically out of control. And that's a problem. So take your workout, for example. Like I said before, like your workout can be healthy. It should be good for your body. But if your body is depleted, if it's inflamed, if it's underfed, if it's running on cortisol, more intensity might not be the loving answer for your body, right? Or, like I said, fasting can be useful in some contexts, but if your body already feels unsafe or unstable or stressed out, fasting might not feel like healing. Okay. It might feel like your body, like an alarm for your body, and same thing, like clean eating can be very supportive for your body, but it can also become rigid and fear based, obsessive. You become disconnected from when you're hungry and when you're full. And then it's no longer about nourishment, it becomes about control, right? Or supplements. Supplements can be really helpful. Okay? But if you're taking them from a place of panic, right? Layering them on without actually knowing what you're taking and why you're taking it for, then what you don't have a plan. You have an expensive chemistry experiment. In my practice, I use advanced kinesiologic testing to really help hone in on what someone's protocol needs to be in order to actually help them move their dial for their health. So I know that when people come in with a laundry list of supplements and they're just taking it because they saw, some TikTok video that said, hey, this is really good for your inflammation, it blows my mind because it does become a expensive, chemistry experiment. And if you're not using good supplements, it gets even worse because yes, there are bad supplements on the market, even if their label says that they're good. All the labels say that they're good, right? All the marketing says that they're good. But many, many people, they also think like whole food supplements, are, the things that they're buying at CVS. And that's really not the case. So all of these things, all these examples, they don't mean that you're actually being supported. It may mean that your body is being overwhelmed. And this is where we've got to get honest. A lot of people are actually they're asking, what is my body saying? That's not what they're saying. Okay. That's not what they're actually asking. What they are asking is, how do I make my body comply? How do I make my body do what I wanted to do? That's a very different question. And when your entire health journey is built around making your body comply, eventually, guess what happens? It's like a kid, right? The body starts resisting. So, and I want to be clear. Your body doesn't resist because it's bad. It doesn't resist because it's failing you. It doesn't resist because it hates you. No, not at all. It's because the body is not a machine that you can bully into wellness. Your body is a living system, and a living system responds to conditions. And so we've got to start to pay attention to what those conditions are, right? So here's one of the most important things I want to talk about today. There is a pattern I always see with high performers, and I call it the override pattern. Some of you are like, yeah, I might do that. The override pattern is when you consistently move against your body's signals in the name of doing what needs to be done, right? Like you're tired, so you keep pushing. You're hungry, but you wait. You're overwhelmed, but you keep going. You're overstimulated, but you keep scrolling. You need to rest, but you schedule more. You feel that tension, but then you ignore it, or you feel off, but you tell yourself to like, hey, get it together. Get it together, Danielle. Get it together, right? And many, all of us are capable, responsible, productive. And that's who you know yourself to be. So you get really, really good at functioning inside of this overwhelm pattern. And that is why it can go like unnoticed for years. And from the outside, it doesn't look like you're collapsing. It often looks like you're competent and your body, though, is feeling the cost. So the cost of that override begins to accumulate. And that's such an important thing to get because override is not neutral. It accumulates. Okay. It accumulates in fatigue, in tension, in inflammation, in cravings, bloating, sleep issues, hormone chaos, in emotional reactivity, right? Where you're just like, I don't know why I'm getting so upset, but I'm always so upset, right? In numbness, not even feeling your emotions, in brain fog, and that strange sense that you're doing your life, but you're not really like inside your life. And sometimes people think that these symptoms are random, but often the symptoms aren't random at all. They're they're accumulated communication is what I'm going to call them. It's your body telling you over and over again in a variety of different ways. Hey, I can't keep carrying life this way. Hey, I need more support. Hey, I need more rhythm. Hey, I need more safety. I need you to move with that slower, right? I need you to notice that the pace that is going all the time is costing you. I need you to stop treating me like an obstacle. This is what your body is saying. And that's a really big one. That last one, I need you to stop treating me like an obstacle because your body is not an obstacle to overcome. And a lot of people, they're in like this adversarial relationship with their body without even realizing it, right? They treat their body like it's a problem to conquer, right? The weight is the problem. The cravings are a problem. The fatigue is the problem. The bloating is the problem. I don't know. The hormones are the problem. But from a deeper perspective, those things might actually not be the problem. They might actually be the messenger. And so if you spend all of your energy silencing that messenger without understanding the actual message, you're going to stay stuck for a really long time. Okay. So I want to invite you to think about symptoms in a very different way, right? Most people, they've been trained to look at symptoms as like inconveniences, malfunctions, or evidence that something in your body has gone wrong. And yes, I mean, symptoms are absolutely a signal for dysfunction. They matter. Okay. We pay attention to them. But what if symptoms are not just problems? What if the symptoms are also information? What if the fatigue is not your body betraying you, but your body trying to like reduce the demand? What if cravings are not just like a lack of willpower, but a result of instability? What if bloating is not your body like being dramatic, but your body saying, hey, this isn't working for me? What if your poor sleep isn't like bad luck, but your nervous system saying that it doesn't feel like it's settled and rested enough to like let go so you can go to sleep? What if weight gain is not just simply about calories, but about stress chemistry and inflammation, blood sugar swings, safety, adaptation? All of those things. What if the mood shifts that you're having are not proof that you're like failing emotionally, but clues that your body's under strain? And now I'm not saying that every symptom has one simple meaning. I wish it were that easy, right? Bodies are layered, your life is layered, your health is layered. But what I'm saying is this: your symptoms usually make more sense than you think they do. And one of the most healing things that can happen is when you stop seeing your symptoms as proof of craziness or laziness or drama or failure or anything like that. And when you start seeing them really as communication. And that shift, that simple shift alone can actually reduce so much shame because shame makes listening harder. And when we're ashamed, right, of what our body's doing, when when we're doing that, we're so much more likely to attack it, suppress it, rush it, judge it, force it. But when you actually understand that your body is trying to communicate, suddenly, curiosity becomes possible. And curiosity then begins to open the doors that control honestly never will. So instead of thinking, how do I shut this symptom down? I want you to begin to ask different questions like, what is this symptom trying to tell me? What pattern has been here for a while over and over again? What's my body compensating for? Or what am I calling normal that actually isn't supportive? Or where have I been pushing past the signals over and over and over again? Honestly, these are better questions. They are much more respectful questions. They're more respectful for your body. And often really they're more productive questions too, because they'll take you and move you to a response to understand your body so that you can actually do what needs to be done to allow your body to heal. Okay. Now, let's talk about survival mode because, yeah, okay, this is a huge piece of the conversation. Most people think that their body stopped responding because there's something wrong with it, like it's defective or it's stubborn or it's damaged beyond repair. But often the body has stopped responding because it is in a protective state. And that is a very different story. The nervous system it's not some optional side note in health. No, it is, it's not the soft, fluffy chapter after the real work. It's actually the operating system of your body. And if that operating system is in chronic survival mode, then your body will allocate resources differently. It's just the way your body's designed to keep you alive. So when the body feels like life is urgent, unpredictable, pressured, unsafe, demanding, it has to adapt. So it may hold on, right? To like, wait, it may tighten up. Now you got pain. It may become reactive. It may conserve. It may struggle to digest well. It will struggle to deeply sleep. It will struggle to like shift your hormones gracefully. It's going to struggle to feel stable. And from the outside, right, it may look like the body's not cooperating, but really from the body's perspective, it may be doing exactly what it believes it needs to do to protect you and keep you alive. So that's why pressure based health, like when we do those things, they backfire. Because if the body is like already bracing and your answer is like, hey, throw more intensity at it, more urgency, more restriction, more force, more self judgment, then the body doesn't say, oh, thank you. This is exactly what I needed. No, no. Usually it says, great, right? More danger. Let me tighten my grip. Okay. And that's why so many people, they live in this maddening experience where they're trying harder and feeling worse because the very energy that they're bringing to their healing is the same energy that helped to create that dysregulation, right? The urgency, the pressure, the hypervigilance, the perfectionism, the control, the fear. I have a client who, um, gosh, I mean, awful, awful, right? Her son passed away and she's working on her health in a program with us that just started. She just started it and then her son passed away. And she did take some time off and when she came back, her focus was like I don't feel like I'm doing this right. I'm really worried I'm not getting it right. Like and we had to like stop, right? And have her take a deep breath and just realize like, hey, you're just doing what your body can manage right now. And there is so much healing in that journey of just paying attention to your body because she's a high performer, right? She's the one that gets everything done. And so she's like, well, if I've got to do this like the A plus way. And it's like, no, sometimes you need to just follow what the cues of your body are, not put that extra pressure on yourself. Okay. You can't create deep healing with the same internal posture that actually caused it, right? That helped exhaust the system to begin with. At some point, the body needs a different environment. The body needs something different. And that's not laziness. That's not giving up. That's not like think positive. It needs safety. And safety is not just an emotional idea. Safety is physiological, right? Safety is rhythm, predictability, enough nourishment, enough hydration, less chaos, less constant stimulation, moments of exhale, right? It's consistency, it's steadiness. It's not constantly asking the body to prove itself. And here's the funny thing, or not so funny, I guess here's the amazing thing. When the body begins to feel safer, it actually becomes more responsive. So that doesn't mean that everything instantly resolves overnight and now you've got magical wellness. Like, no, that's not the way it happens. Okay. Um, what it does mean is that the system becomes more available to healing. And that really matters. Okay. And so the foundations, they might feel boring, but if you change everything, so I mean, let's look at it. Let's tell the truth, right? A lot of what actually helps the body is not sexy. It's not the stuff that's hooking you into social media posts. It's not that stuff. In fact, that stuff drives me crazy, right? Because we do get hooked by that stuff. Okay. But it's not like a flashy bottle. It's not like a dramatic sales page. It's not like some new biohacking bro yelling at you from the internet while standing in front of a cold plunge. A lot of the real work is foundational. And because it is foundational, people often, they underestimate it, like meal consistency, eating your meals at the same time every day, hydration, sleep rhythm, going to bed and waking up at the same time, managing your blood sugar steadiness, light, sunlight in the morning, right? Reducing this overstimulation, the phones and the computers and all of it. Not skipping meals and then wondering why like you're starving at 4 o'clock, right? Pausing before you push past that fatigue, learning how your body responds to food instead of blindly following the trends, creating simplicity that your system, that's when your system, it can stop bracing. And these things are, I mean, they're basic. They sound basic, right? And they are. But basic doesn't mean weak. Basic means biological. And biological things matter. So many people, they keep looking for the next advanced strategy when the body is still asking for the first layer of support. That's like, it's trying to like take a crystal chandelier in a house with a cracked foundation and flickering the power, right? It's fancy, it's impressive, and it's unnecessary at the moment, right? So the question is not like, what's the most advanced thing I can do? The question is, what conditions does my body need in order to respond? I'll say that again. What conditions does my body need in order to respond? That's the better question, because the body is not changed most deeply by random heroic efforts. No, it's changed by conditions repeated over time. And that is why rhythm matters so much. And I think this is where a lot of people, they just need permission, right? You don't need to win the health Olympics. You don't need to earn wellness through intensity. You don't need to suffer your way into healing. Oh my gosh, no. What you often need is steadiness. And steadiness is really, it's underrated if you ask me, right? But steadiness it helps the nervous system feel trust. It helps your blood sugar regulate. It makes your digestion work better. And steadiness, it helps the body know what to expect. It lowers the noise. And when there's less noise, it really becomes easier to hear the body. Okay. Now, I want to talk about an important piece of that, and that's nutrition. I want to take a moment for you to look at nutrition through this different lens. You see, one of the reasons that people get so confused about food is because they're trying to follow external rules without leaning in and learning their body's responses. And so, you know, now again, there are foundational truths. I'm not pretending that there's no principles, right? They're like junk food is junk food, right? Processed food is bad for your body, like no joke. But what many people need is not more fear of food or more food noise. They need more signal awareness, right? Food is not just calories, it's not just macros, it's not just medicine. Food is actually information, and the body is always answering you back through your energy, through your mood, through your digestion, through your cravings, through your fullness, through your inflammation, through your steadiness, your fogginess, how you feel an hour after you've eaten, or 3 hours, or the next morning. And if we never slow down long enough to observe the response in our body, we stay trapped. We stay stuck, like in confusion. And we can keep saying, I don't know what works for me, right? I don't know what to eat. Everything feels confusing. But many times, the confusion is not because the body is silent, it's because life is loud and we're rushing, right? We're eating distracted, we're eating stressed. I do it, right? I do it. And I got to stop myself. I'm like, Danielle, what are you doing? Right? This is not what Dr. Z does. But it happens too because it's life these days, or we skip meals, or we overcomplicate our meals, or we follow trends, or we swing between restrictions and then cravings. And we treat food, okay, like a test we keep failing. That's what we do. And that makes it so hard to hear anything clearly. So, the body led approach to nutrition is not about perfection, but it's about relationship. Like, how does this food affect me? Do I feel nourished or depleted afterwards? Do I feel stable or chaotic? Do I feel grounded or more inflamed? Does this support me? Does it create noise? And that's a very different approach from, is this allowed? Because allowed by whom, right? The internet, some influencer with abs and a ring light, a stranger who discovered one root vegetable and now thinks she's a prophet. I mean, come on, your body deserves a little bit more nuance than that, because nutrition becomes much more powerful when it becomes a conversation with your body instead of a control strategy. So I want you to really land on that and hone that in. Okay. Now, let's talk about supplements. Um, I listen, I love well chosen supplements. I use supplements, right? That support, it matters. But many people have been taught to relate to supplements like tiny capsules of hope. And yes, hope is lovely, but discernment is better. Okay. Supplements are not a magic bullet. Some people even try to use them like medications, right? To cover up different symptoms. They do not replace the solid foundation. I always tell people you can't supplement your way out of your poor diet, right? They don't override a dysregulated nervous system. Yeah, can we give you like some Premier Research Labs adrenaline or adaptogen or max B to help like your nervous system? We can, but it doesn't override the dysregulation, right? Supplements don't automatically outsmart your stress or your under eating or your sleep deprivation or your poor rhythm. If that's the way you're using them, you've got to stop and ask yourself, why am I doing this? Because yes, support can help a responsive body, but supplements cannot create responsiveness in a body that's still bracing under the weight of everything else. And that matters because otherwise people keep like stacking things on top of the body that it's been given a space that it can't actually respond, right? So you start thinking, oh, I need more, I need something different, or whatever. And then you see the next thing on Instagram. Okay, but maybe the body is still asking for the foundations first. So supplements should be well designed for what your body needs. They should support your clarity, not your chaos, right? You want to support your discernment, not panic. You want to support the body. Okay. And this is where, you know, we need to have a clearer conversation. You don't need more brain fog, right? You need a clear conversation with your body about what's working, what's not working in your body. Okay. And we also have to move from reacting to symptoms to actually reading them as signals. So at some point, healing becomes less about collecting more information and more about interpreting what's already happening. So that's like a really big maturity shift. Early on, many people are in reactive mode, right? Symptoms happen and they panic. Their energy drops and they scramble. Their sleep gets bad and then they're like throw five different things at it, or their weight goes up and they go like into emergency mode. Now, it's all understandable, but reactive health is exhausting. What we want instead is interpretive health. So from reactive to interpretive, right? Reading patterns, seeing cause and effect, understanding what the body tends to do under certain conditions, recognizing what drains you and what steadies you, knowing when the body needs more input and when it needs less. This is where trust starts to build because you can read your own signals more accurately. You can stop living in that constant second guessing. You can stop outsourcing every decision that you make about yourself and your health. And you can actually start saying things like, I know what happens when I wait too long to eat. Or I know what happens when I overcommit for 3 days straight. Or I know what happens when I stack intensity on top of poor sleep. Or I know what foods tend to support me or don't. I know when my body needs more rhythm, not more stimulation. I know the difference between a hard day and a pattern. Okay. When you get to that point, that's powerful. And it's very different from the helplessness that many people feel when they believe that their body is random, right? Or the body's just doing these different things. It's not. Your body is actually patterned. And those patterns can be read. It's part of what I do. Like in my practice, I'm like the body detective, right? What I'm looking for and doing is literally just reading patterns. And you are reading patterns when you start to look at your body. You are the N of one. So you have to pay attention to that N of one experiment. And, you guys, the goal isn't perfection. Okay. It's just not. And listen, here's why I really want to bring some real tenderness into the conversation because I think many people unconsciously, like, they set goals for their health, like no symptoms, no fluctuations, no hard days, no discomfort, no uncertainty. I don't know which ones resonate for you, right? Basically, they want to become a serene woodland creature who wakes up glowing, digests everything perfectly, sleeps like a baby, and never gets annoyed at anyone. Yeah. Oh, wow, that sounds great. All right. That's not real life. So the goal is not perfection. The goal is responsiveness. And that word matters so much, responsiveness, right? Responsiveness means the body can adapt better. Responsiveness means it can recover better. It can communicate more clearly. It can stabilize more effectively. It can tolerate life with less chaos. So a responsive body is not necessarily a perfect body, but it's a body that has a lot more capacity. And when we shift the goal from perfection to responsiveness, so much of that like unnecessary guilt and shame, it begins to fall away because then the unresolved things, they don't automatically mean failure. They mean information, and they are. And that is such an important mindset shift. Some things will improve with foundations. Absolutely. Some things won't. Some things need more extensive care and more extensive pattern differentiations, right? Like noticing the different things that are happening. Some things resolve relatively quickly once the system is supported better. But some things reveal that there is a deeper layer that needs some more personalized intention. So both are useful, Both tell the truth, but it if something shifts with safety, steadiness, nourishment, rhythm, that nervous system support, that's wonderful. That tells us a lot. Okay. If something remains despite those things, that also tells us a lot. It doesn't mean that your body's failed, right? It means that the foundations have revealed that there's another layer. So our health always works in layers. I always joke around with my clients. Our health is like, it's like a Rubik's Cube. In order to get all the sides lined up, you got to sit there and move things around. And sometimes you're like, I don't think this is headed in the right direction. And all of a sudden it's like, poof, you've got your Rubik's Cube all figured out. So the when we get to the next layer, it's a different story, right? Well, we know like, okay, this didn't fix everything immediately, so I guess nothing works. That's what some people say, but that's not true. It means that, okay, now we've got better information, and that better information is gold. So we have to understand that there are layers that happen. So if you are someone who feels like you're doing everything right for your health and it still isn't working, what might your body be trying to tell you? Like, check in with your body. Maybe it's saying, hey, I don't need more pressure. I need more safety. Maybe your body's saying, hey, you keep trying to fix me without first listening to me, right? Or maybe it's saying the pace you are living at is costing more than you realize. Or, hey, I'm not resisting you, I'm protecting you. Maybe it's saying, hey, what you call discipline sometimes feels like deprivation. Or maybe it's saying, I need rhythm more than I need intensity. Or maybe it's saying you keep adding solutions without removing the strain. Or, hey, please stop treating every single signal like an inconvenience. Or maybe your body's just saying, hey, I'm not broken, I'm burdened. Yeah, I think that one lands for a lot of people. Your body doesn't malfunction. It's not broken, but burdened. Because when we see it as burdened, it changes the conversation. If something's broken, we usually like need to attack it or fix it or replace it or manage it. But when it's burdened, we ask something different. What is weighing it down? What is overwhelming it? What is it carrying? What is it compensating for? What conditions has it been surviving in? That is a much wiser conversation. And it's often the more healing one for sure. So where do we go from here as we wrap up? So if today's episode, it has you recognizing yourself, I do not want your takeaway to be, oh, great, one more thing I've been doing wrong. No, that's not what I want you to think. That would be missing the whole entire point. The point is not self-blame. The point is awareness, right? Awareness is where change begins. So maybe your next stop is not dramatic. Maybe it's honest. Maybe it's noticing where you override your hunger or where you override your fatigue or override your stress or where you override your need for quiet or where you override your body in the name of like being good or productive or efficient or disciplined or on track. Maybe your next step is to stop asking, how do I get my body to comply? And start asking, what conditions help my body respond? Maybe the next step is to simplify, to study, to listen, to create more rhythm, to reduce some noise, to be less aggressive in the name of your health. Because sometimes the next breakthrough does not come from doing more. Sometimes it comes from ending the pattern of override. And that's not weakness. That's really wisdom. That's maturity. That's the beginning of a very different kind of healing. So if this episode spoke to you, I want you to sit with one question today. One question. Where in my health have I been trying to force a response instead of the creating the conditions for one? Yeah, that question alone can change a lot, because when you stop fighting your body long enough to actually hear it, you may realize it's been communicating stuff to you all along. Not perfectly, not always conveniently, right? Not always softly, but honestly. And when you learn to work with the honesty of your body instead of pushing against it, everything begins to shift and change. So thank you for being here with me today. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who is exhausted from trying so hard and still not feeling like themselves. They may need this conversation more than you know. And if you haven't already subscribed to the show, make sure that you do that so you don't miss what's coming next. This is True Wellness with Dr. D, and I'll see you next time.
This is Dr. Z reminding you to tune into your body, connect with what matters, and embrace your journey to true wellness. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone who's ready to redefine their health. Be sure to grab a copy of the True Wellness Checklist right in the show notes. Let's keep redefining wellness and empowering change together. See you for the next episode.